Hello, everyone! Blue Star Saber here once again with the one, the only Lucky Chi 7.
Hi.
And for probably not since a very long time, we are discussing Boruto.
When was the last time we talked about Boruto?
Let's see. Hold on, let me just check. Let's see if I'm going by my most popular.
It's a really out there question, but I was like, I wonder.
Let's see. From what I can tell from my most popular videos. Let's see, the last time was chapter 56, in which we were discussing the aftermath of Kurama's death, Code becoming the new villain, and this Sumeri becoming apparently the new Hinata clone, and this new Ada character. So that it's been that long because arguably I've been debating whether or not there was a chapter or two I want to discuss, the infamous omittance. Is it omittance or omnittance?
Omnipotence. I think that's how you say it.
Could you say it again?
Omnipotence.
Omnipotence. Yes.
Or I think the better way to say it is omnipotence.
Omnipotence. Okay, fair enough. Let's see. We're debating whether or not to do a stream on those two chapters, just because of the sheer amount of ridiculousness with those two chapters going back, which I think is the main thing to go with. The second half of my title is the fact that it's been a long time since I've just we discussed Boruto, and a lot has happened pretty much. The main thing is that Boruto, Naruto's adopted son, Kawaki, ended up deciding that he wants to kill Boruto because he realizes he's still possessed by Momoshiki, the Otsutsuki bad guy from the Boruto movie, and wants to kill him, but Naruto and Hinata protested, and as a result, in order to make sure that they would not get in the way, as he's pretty much as Kawaki pretty much admires Naruto, has him trapped and sealed in another dimension, and then tries to go to kill Boruto, which turns everyone in the leaf against him. He manages to scar Boruto at the very least. And this is where Ada, who is pretty much head over heels in love with Kawaki, unintentionally does the omnipotence. Omnipotence.
Yeah.
That's going to be a word. That's going to be a word. Let's see.
It'll take you. It'll take you a bit before you get used to it.
Yeah, the omnipotence, pretty much, which many felt came out of nowhere. I mean, some people say, the one with blue eyes would ruin your life or something from Momoshiki's vague wording. But for many people, it felt like a plot twist that came out of nowhere, in which sort of reversed Boruto and Kawaki's roles, as everyone's memories have been altered, with the only exception being Sarada and Sume, the two potential love interests for Boruto. And now everyone views Boruto as the person who's allegedly killed Naruto and the outsider, rather than Kawaki as the son.
The best way I can say is that it's the literal definition of role reversal. That's essentially what happened.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like a very forced role reversal, and the only ally Boruto has is Sasuke, due to the fact that Sadra, remembering her memories and awakening her Mangekyo Sharingan, which was also very controversial, pleaded with her father to rescue Boruto. As doing so, he's now once again become a rogue ninja to the Leaf Village. And now Boruto's only an ally, as he's going to wait time to come out and, train to try and stop Kawaki and end this cycle of violence between two, brother-like figures. Even though that's supposed to have ended with Naruto and Sasuke, but yeah, there we go. And then we end up having a time skip.
The argument could be made with Naruto and Sasuke that was ending a reincarnation sibling rivalry, but this was just its own thing. I mean, same concept, but different
Well, let's see.
Presentation.
Well, even without the reincarnation stuff, it would see the whole two brothers or brothers in arms conflict we saw span.
We've seen that again, so it's not new.
Yeah, it's not new, and frankly, from the way it was way Naruto narrated it, that let's see, this conflict was supposed to end with Naruto and Sasuke, and then they bring about a great change. But it seems like since the fact that Boruto became a thing, that seems to have been completely shattered and ruined since the first chapter when we saw Kawaki and Boruto fighting over the ruined remains of him saying, let's see, you end up like the seventh and Sasuke, which many people wonder, does that mean, did they die or something?
Well, they specifically said the seventh. They didn't say Naruto.
Okay.
So Sasuke is still kind of a wild card.
Yeah, it's still debatable whether or not Sasuke might have ended up dying or not. Let's see.
Well, granted, Naruto's not dead now.
Yeah. No, Sasuke, it's up to debate, but who knows? I mean, granted, there's been, let's see, if you've been spoiled on Twitter, there's been a recent mentor figure that's just been brutally murdered. So, now, granted, I doubt Boruto would ever have the balls to do what that particular manga series did. If you know which one I'm referring to, Lucky Chi.
Oh, I know full well what's going on with that particular series. I know full well.
Yeah. So, but pretty much that's the time skip. And frankly, you had a 3-month hiatus. And to be honest, I was originally kind of trying to do the first chapter, but you wanted to wait until the second chapter. So I'd find, all right, we'll do a double chapter review and discussion just so we can make our sort of first impressions of what this series is going to be about with like these 2 chapters.
It's actually funny because I remember prior to Two Blue Vortex coming out, I said, I'll just talk about the first chapter, and then depending on where it goes, I might do more. So, chapter 2 came out, I was like, well, let's just talk about it. Just give my general thoughts. And that's what I did yesterday.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, I have no idea what you think of that chapter, though, because I have not watched it. But so it'll very much be a surprise to me. But I got an idea of some of the stuff you said in the first chapter.
Mm-hmm.
Though, granted, I wasn't really impressed. Which honestly, I think is something I want to just get into because one of the things that I saw when it came to like this. Like during the 3-month hiatus, you had a lot of Boruto fans going like, "Oh, the time skip's going to make it all better. Time skip's going to get everyone to see just how great Boruto is." Stuff like that on social media.
Yeah, see, I strayed away from all that because I was like, you know what? We got 3 months. When the time skip comes, I'll just wait for the time skip to drop, and then I'll just I'll check it out. I'm not gonna. Like, I knew this was going to be a big talking point for months, and knowing how the Naruto fandom is, I wasn't going to waste my time with, like, just that stuff.
Especially the Boruto section, who tried to keep arguing how great this series is, but...
Well, no, not just that. I'm talking about, like, in general, like, both sides.
Yeah.
Like, just the argument. I'm like...
Yeah. Well, I'll definitely say some sections of that fan base are worse than others, but I'm probably not going to go into that. Though I think many of the Boruto fans completely ignored the point that for many people it's like they had 80 chapters to get people to like this series. If it takes at least 80 chapters to not get them to like it, they're hardly going to do it.
Here's the weird thing: is that. What is it? 10 of those chapters are like events from a movie. So technically, if you even ignore the 10 chapters, it's really like just 70. So it's not even really like it's not even really like if we're talking like new content. Really, it's only just 70 chapters.
Yeah, well, 70 or so chapters. Now, granted, yes, some might go like, oh, many people said like One Piece didn't get good until after like 100 chapters or so. But I'd probably say the difference with like One Piece is, well, pretty much, let's see, Boruto is...
One Piece came out in a different time, though. That's the thing. Like, I feel like the thing is, like, if One Piece, like, if it were to start and it came out today, I don't know. Like, I think
Yeah.
it's tough.
Yeah, arguably One Piece coming out today. Well, arguably the first 100 chapters would probably have to be condensed into more smaller and quicker arcs. To be honest, let's see. Broke works.
Still pretty. I mean, I'm still currently rereading the manga right now, and as far as Arlong goes, we're reading it like chapter by chapter. I think Arlong's fine for the most part.
Let's see. Okay, Arlong arguably is one of the arcs that could probably stay around relatively the same size. Maybe let's see, Baratier arc, but I definitely say like the first few arcs.
Baratier was kind of a. It got a little stale in the middle, but that was.
But yeah, okay. Arguably, you might need to cut 1 or 2 chapters on it, but arguably, it's definitely say Romance Dawn, Orange Town, and let's see, Usopp's village arc. Those probably need to be a bit shorter.
Actually, Romance Dawn is only 3 chapters.
Okay. Well, Romance Dawn would probably be fine, but probably the other 2 would probably need to be cut a bit shorter.
Definitely.
Let's see. I mean, probably like a volume or 2. Let's see. But arguably because let's see, and also probably the more 2 goofier arcs of East Blue, to be honest. Yeah. Granted, but see, also One Piece now has that live actions show, which can easily condense those arcs for like people that don't want to go over 100 chapters. Let's see of East Blue.
Well, unless you're like a super hardcore One Piece buff.
But
then, there's a.
Okay, the live action would probably be recommended more to casuals. But yeah,
definitely.
But also there's another thing. Boruto is the sequel to a very beloved franchise. Granted, it's become a lot more controversial in later years, but there are some expectations. At the very least with Boruto when it came to like Naruto, and for many people Boruto did not live up to those expectations.
Well, at least I'll say this, at the very least for like the older generation, like for people just now getting into it, it's not like that big of a deal to them from what
arguably yes, old time fans are more cynical of Boruto than perhaps maybe new time fans, which I have literally been in arguments with those ones, but which you can clearly tell. In many ways, it's like the prequels versus the originals versus prequels versus sequel fan generations of Star Wars, which, let's see, thinking back, it's hard to imagine that I've become like the original trilogy fanboys, in a sense.
Ironic.
Yes, ironic. But pretty much but Boruto, but at the very least, I can say with Boruto, it has not, let's see, there's been quite evidence that it's not been that well, let's see, received, because I mean, if you look at like the volume sales, they've just like declined over the volumes. The first one sold a few 100,000, and then nowadays they barely sell like 100,000.
Well, keeping this in mind too, they're also stuck in a publication where.
Jump Vega, but remember they were in Shonen Jump originally, but
they were.
Yeah, and the decline did happen. And the decline did happen quite a bit in Jump. So there's still that thing to be on.
Do you remember?
I'm sorry, what?
Do you actually? Let me see when I moved over. Then I can get a better idea.
I think it was around the 12th or so volume.
Okay, so July 2019. So if I'm looking at it like that, it moved to Beach in July. So I don't mean to hijack the stream, Blue. I'm just
Go ahead. I just need to go check on something.
Yeah. So if we're looking at it, so Boruto premiered in V-Jump on July 2019. So if we're using that as a basis, then let's see. July. Where would that put us? volumes. Okay, so that would definitely be past the Owl arc.
The what?
That would be past the vessel arc. Like pretty much when they find Kaliki.
Okay, so pretty much
it would be past that. I'm guessing it's the Kaliki arc.
okay.
Yeah, it is the Kaliki arc. So
Okay, so which volume within the Kawaki arc?
pretty much. Okay, I would say that would probably be. Oh, wait, hold on. July, right? So that would have to be 30. Okay, so starting volume 10.
So yeah, arguably when the volumes were starting to get around the 100,000s, if I recall.
Yeah, so volume 10.
So yeah, so pretty much the decline was still happening, and arguably it's probably why it moved to Jump Vigo to begin with. So yeah, it's not exactly promising.
Yeah.
Now, granted, so yeah, you got pretty much Boruto fans thinking that this would the time skip would rejuvenate the franchise. Granted, I mean,
it kind of did.
might have got. To be honest, I'm not really convinced. On one hand, you've got like the Boruto fans still saying, "Oh, it's great, it's amazing," but I think you still got many of the cynicals like, "Nope, still sucks."
Yeah, as far as my standing goes, like I'm like in the middle at this point. I'm more so just saying where
You disappoint me, Lucky Chi.
Hey, someone's gotta be devil's advocate here.
All right, fine, but fair enough, but fine, but yes. So though, if you're
look, I'm just saying, if we're gonna look at the bad stuff, we also gotta look at like the other stuff too. So,
all right, but yeah, I'll probably give you Boruto fans a heads up now if you haven't figured out. I am pretty much anti-Boruto, so if you don't like some of my views, don't watch the stream. But yeah, but anyway, but yeah, so pretty much, let's see, we're going to have a time skip. Now, granted, it's interesting. When it happened in chapter 80, I think people just thought it would be chapter 81, but then the surprise announcement that it was going to be called Boruto.
Rebranded.
Yeah, rebranded, which arguably.
I will say this: that discussion of it possibly getting a rebrand was like it talked about in the fan base for like months prior to the time, like prior to the last chapter of Next Generations.
Okay, fair enough. By the way, I'm wondering if you could just speak a bit closer to the mic so I could hear you a bit better, Lucky Chi. But so yeah, I think there's always the possibility of people saying, well, that's going to happen. Granted, let's see, arguably that probably would have happened with Naruto Part 1 and Part 2 if Shippuden anime came out in the West before the Naruto volumes 4 that came out. But since, let's see, time has passed, and I'm pretty certain there's been a lot more mangas that have split their manga series into 2 halves. Most famous example, I believe, is Tokyo Ghoul with Tokyo Ghoul and Tokyo Ghoul Re.
But the difference with Tokyo Ghoul and Tokyo Ghoul Re is that like that was already like a thing that started in Japan. It was like you had Tokyo Ghoul and then you had Re. So
yeah,
that was already a thing with that. So.
And that's what I'm saying. It's like a more of a recent of examples of mangakas splitting their work into 2. Because normally mangakas did not do that. After all, in Japan, Dragon Ball is just regarded as Dragon Ball and no Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah,
it's only in publications in the West that you split Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, because like if you're looking at at least in the West, Dragon Ball only makes up 16 volumes, and the Z portion of it is like only 26. So if you want to play that approach with Naruto, I mean, we all know this. The first 27 volumes is Part 1, and then if I'm doing my math correctly, is that
55 volumes of Part 2?
No, it's not 55. It's less than that.
All right, fine.
45,
yeah,
45. It's
45. Okay, yeah. Sorry, my bad there. My mistake there. No, actually, no, I should be ashamed. Usually, maths is one of my better subjects. But yeah. But by the way,
Funny.
like,
Math is not one of
yeah.
math's something I have to like take my time on when it comes to that. But
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it was like less than 50. But yeah, it's like 45.
Okay. Fair enough. But yeah. So yeah, 45 volumes of part 2 and blah, blah, blah. Though, granted, we're probably not going to get, let's see, 45 volumes of Boruto. And if, from what I can recall from, I think, the original artist or original writer of Boruto, it was originally going to be a like 10-volume series, 30-volume series. And since Boruto Next Generations has got 20 volumes, arguably Blue Vortex would probably be, from that standpoint, would be another 10.
Yeah.
By the way, could you just speak up a bit more to the audio on your mic, Lucky Chi? You're sounding a bit quiet.
So, I would say 10. If it were to stretch, maybe 15. I'd give it that.
Now, granted, I'm hoping that it's just 10 or less because, frankly, I want this series to die. But that's just me. But I will just say this. I will say the idea of changing the name is definitely an improvement because Boruto Naruto Next Generations is just...
That was a mouthful. Like, even when I heard the title, I was like, really? So I'm like, just call it Boruto.
I mean, it sounds like, yeah, it sounds cringe. I mean, okay, I get that may have tried to do Naruto and the Next Generations to try and market it as like a sequel to Naruto, but it's like, if you're gonna do that, you can't have Boruto and Naruto Next Generations in the same thing. They're two separate titles.
Yeah.
In many ways, it reminds me of like how people responded to Batman versus Superman: Dawn of Justice. As many people felt like those are two separate titles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It was like, and not to mention for many people, it felt like those should have been two separate movies.
I mean, if you called it, okay, so because I was talking to someone earlier today, and they said if you were to retitle Naruto Next Generations, what would it be? And I would have said, probably Boruto Uzumaki Chronicles. That's what I would have said.
I suppose if you wanted to have Boruto as the main title for that, yeah. Other than that, the only thing you could do is just have Naruto Next Generations in the title. Just that by itself.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. Now, granted, as for the two Blue Vortex,
I mean, the 2 part I can kind of get because it is like it is the follow up to part 1, so I do get that. Blue Vortex. If I have to guess, there's 2 meanings I could think of, which somehow it ties to Kawaki, which I can see.
Yeah,
or it ties, or this is another one I'm thinking of. It ties with him and his sister. That's what I'm thinking.
What, Boruto and his sister? Well, to be honest, I'm pretty certain. Well, to be honest, Lucky Chi, it's probably going to be more of the former, as the latter is just more of a background prop for me. Hanami, I mean, Himaraya has pretty much been a very non-existent character. One that I think is a rather overrated, and I'm still holding a grudge for the fact that Naruto missed his Hokage ceremony over. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, honestly, I doubt it's referencing the sister. Pretty much, I think the 2 Blue Vortex is supposed to be a reference to Boruto and Karaki, though granted, the whole Blue Vortex thing is a bit iffy unless it seems like both of them are going to get some sort of Vortex powers, which I think the latest chapter seems to have implied something like that. But yeah, so pretty much that is what's been going on, But yeah, that is pretty much everything that I've been saying about the build up to this time skip. Honestly, I just say like the omnipotence. It was just the omnipotence is just, frankly, it feels like a very bad and forced plot twist to try and get things to go faster. As I think one of the biggest complaints I've seen from some people is that Boruto moves such a very slow pace. And so, yeah, it felt like it came out of nowhere, and some felt like there was no tension. I think one of the biggest things is the fact that some people feel like is that we're missing a big opportunity to seeing how people react to the fact that Naruto is supposedly dead. I think that is the biggest thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like let's see, Naruto, arguably, the character who was like the main character for like the first 15 years of this franchise, and not to mention the one that's had the biggest impact of the Shinobi world, and yet we have not seen how the rest of the world has reacted to his death. Not like his teammates Sakura and Kakashi, who should be would he be making major questions on why Sasuke would supposedly help Naruto's killer, how the tailed beasts would react, the ones that are left since Naruto helped them, how the other Kage would respond, particularly like Gaara, and even how like some of the members of like Naruto's village, particularly like the K11, Iruka, because of like the bond he had with Naruto, and even Tsunade, who entrusted Naruto to carry on the Hokage legacy, and like a Dan and her brother. So it's like
I feel like, and I know this has always kind of been a point of debate in the fan base, but
could you say that a bit louder?
I think I was gonna say this. Like, I think it's gonna be one of those cases where it's gonna be left to the anime to.
To be honest, I feel like
again, I'm not saying that should always be the case, but that's the direction I could see it going in.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, but to be honest, that stuff like that shouldn't be really left to like an anime spin-off filler or some spin-off novel just to cover that kind of thing. This is something that should be covered in the main series, but yeah. But yeah, I know people say like, "Oh, it's all canon," but frankly, I find that just to be a bit of an excuse, to be honest, and just being like, and just the manga being lazy on that. But yeah, it's like you literally have your like the biggest character die in the franchise, and you're not getting like an immediate reaction of for it.
Yeah.
Sorry, what?
Supposedly.
Yeah, supposedly dying, but yeah. So it's like no actual reaction.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're going to do BAM, a time skip, which frankly is also a bit confusing because you literally, the one thing that I have not yet mentioned, I think, in this time skip is the fact that besides Kawaki trying to kill Boruto, you also have the last surviving member of the inner Kara Circle, Code, who was infatuated with Ada due to her powers. They had a bit of a split and falling out, so he decided to take things in his own hands of trying to break the effect she had on her, and then becoming an Okusutsuki and find out whether or not he actually liked her or not, but also take his revenge on Kawaki, and also turning the Ten Tails at Ishiki Otsutsuki, is it?
You mean
the one that was supposedly Kaguya's partner?
Oh yeah, Ishiki. Yeah.
Yeah, Ishiki's 10 Tails into an army of Frieza clones.
Yeah, like, okay, I'll say this: the idea of like turning the 10 Tails into like a more manageable size and like making it to where it's like a threat. I can like in concept, I think that works, and I might have mentioned that in like the stream I did before Ghibli Vortex came out, but I think I did mention that like having it based off of like just that design, it's like okay, the design of the clawgrams, because that's what they're called, right? I'm not exactly a huge fan of them. I'll just say that.
Well, it looks stupid, and frankly, it makes me miss the 10-tailed clones that we saw in the 4th Great Ninja War.
Even if they were used as like fodder tier.
Yeah, they were just pretty much used as like fodder troops to like let's see, just so that let's see, Sakura and the rest of the K11 could show
I'm
off.
also surprised that 10 Tails didn't have a personality. That to me, like,
yeah, and honestly, it's like let's see, you didn't need to do this. You could have done something creative, like you could have done something let's see creative of like what the Sage of Six Paths did and split them into 9 separate entities. And arguably, yes, I'm not saying you'd make another copies of the 9-tailed beasts, but I'm just saying you could have done something more like that.
I mean, okay, tail beast.
Yeah, but you could have done like 10 unique individual, 9 unique, let's see, chakra individuals. You don't have to make them beasts, but you could have made them.
I mean, you could have still went with beasts, but I would have probably said maybe you could have made them.
Make them a what?
Like shadow beasts? I don't know.
Yeah, some sort of shadow beast, some sort of dark humanoid beasts. I don't know, just something. I don't know, something a bit more creative. But instead, you've done these stupid Frieza clones.
But I mean, honestly, you could have made them dragons. If they went the dragons approach, I would have been cool with that. I think that would have been nice, kind of neat.
Arguably, yeah, that could have worked, I guess. But yeah, but sadly, they didn't really do that. And also, you have him marching about. Also, you still have that Jiraiya clone about.
Oh yeah, Kashin Koji. Yeah,
there's
still no whereabouts on where he's been.
Yeah, it's like, let's see, he like he's pretty much been absent for like over like 40 chapters or something now, right?
Let me see. If I go back, when did his thing come off?
Chapter 47, if I recall.
47, right? So that was okay. Predestined Fate. Yeah, okay, yeah. So that was volume 12.
So yeah, pretty much like 8 volumes missing. Now, granted, I think Sakura is even more absent from this series, but yeah.
Well, she has her happily ever after with Sasuke, so.
Well, now he's a rogue ninja again, so I hardly call that, but yeah, a happily ever after. But pretty much, but yeah, pretty much. Let's see, you've got pretty much those 2 plot points missing, and not even being dressing. Besides that, and yeah, it just feels weird that you have such a time skip jump like that. But anyway, I think we've just pretty much discussed the time skip for quite a bit. I think it's now time for the actual chapter reviews themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So the chapter begins with Sadara's new design, in which your avatar, which shows what it is, and which now I believe 15 or 16, pretty much has discarded.
I think she's 15 because the end of part 1 pretty much confirmed that they're all still 12. So yeah.
Okay, well, this just makes the design even worse in a sense, but yeah. But yeah, but pretty much seems to be
she could be 16 too. I don't know.
Yeah, but no, it's still problematic, as I say. Granted, it's not as problematic as what Ikimoto was doing with Sadara's design in the first half, which many found an unnecessary change from what Kishimoto drew. In fact, made it worse because he tended to show off her leggings very inappropriately, I might add.
Yeah, like, I'll say this, and I think I might have mentioned this already in the other stream, but my own stream, but
a bit louder.
I would say this, like, the crop top for Sard, I think is fine. I think and the jacket doesn't really bother me that much either, but I would say if you had her shorts like up to her thighs, kind of like with what Sakura had in part 2, I think it could have been more manageable, in my opinion. It would have looked better, for sure.
Okay, yes, that would have made it a bit more manageable. But I also would have had not one of the shoulders showing, because it feels like you're just trying to show her shoulder quite a bit. And from what I've seen, it's been it's always been shown, even in a ridiculous manner. But frankly, yeah, if you got like And over the shoulder, maybe have it zipped up a bit. I think it could have worked much better. And frankly, and that's me putting it nicely, because the harshest critics I have seen of this have called Sadra looking like a, I'm just going to quote, stripper. That is literally the harshest criticisms I have seen of, people say, of Sarada online. And frankly, I cannot blame them given what we've previously seen of Ikimoto. But arguably the aesthetic.
Which I will say, if whenever we do get the anime again, I would not be surprised if they changed it for the anime. I wouldn't.
We'll have to wait and see. My guess is at the best that you're going to try and make the shorts just a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But how longer, I don't know. But yeah. But arguably, I can see where the idea of this looking like some sort of Katsuki, like sort of get-up thing, which I can't really blame her, because arguably she's not really fully loyal to the belief of what they're doing to Boruto right now. But granted, the heels are still too high. Yes, you had Tsunade and Sakura, but Sakura's heels were not that high, and Tsunade was mostly not really on active duty and fights this. It just still looks stupid, but yeah. But pretty much we have her outside the Hokage's office, and now we then get a double-colored spread of Boruto's time skip design. I should mention most of these designs were revealed in promotions before the actual chapter came out. And which Boruto pretty much looks like someone from Tokyo Revengers.
I'll say this. I think, like, if I had to pick who has the best time skip design, I would definitely say Boruto probably has the best one.
I'd probably have to disagree with you there, Lucky Chi. Say who I think has the best design later, but I'd definitely say the biggest criticism I've seen, and pretty much everyone I think I've seen, is that, like, too many belts. Too many belts, and they feel out of place.
See, I didn't even notice the belts until, like, I went back over reading. I was like, wow, what the hell's up with the belts?
Let's see. But yeah, it's pretty much, let's see, the belts, and I've pretty much, let's see, I've definitely seen YouTubers like, Dreo Knight mention them.
I mean, I'll say this. I think it's, my guess is that, like, Ikimoto is like a fan of fashion, from what I've learned, so I can kind of see where the whole fashion sense comes into play. But
well, it feels out of place, and it makes me miss like the bandage leg things that you see in Naruto. That was just like, that was more of the ninja-like thing. This feels like more of like a street punk thing. And frankly, like I said, Boruto looks like he was drawn for like JoJo's Bizarre Adventures or Tokyo Revengers. I mean, granted, I also probably say this is arguably the first time Boruto has done a double-colored a double-page spread of anything, because one thing that when watching Dreo Knight's videos of his criticizing of Boruto is the fact that I learned that Boruto never really does any double gritty page spreads or double page chapter pages.
Yeah, I already noticed that.
Yeah, I didn't notice that, arguably because I just skim through Boruto and just don't really like invest in it. But it's like, seriously, it's like not even one. It's like, what the heck? I mean, granted, yes, you could argue you don't need to necessarily have them in the story, but given the fact that many of the most iconic moments in Naruto and even some of the other mangas and done double colored page spreads, you'd think they would try and do it, because some of the things which you need that scale of a double page spread to show the importance of it. But yeah. And another interesting thing I noticed, the fact that you on the titles of like who's behind it, you've got creator supervisor Kishimoto, which doesn't feel like doesn't feel like okay. Is Kishimoto's a supposed writer of Boruto? You should probably have it. Yeah, you'd probably have it there, which frankly leads to like I think many people's suspicions that Kishimoto is not writing it, despite what some Boruto's fans saying. and art is still done by Ikimoto, who, frankly, given how he draws female characters, I'm partly starting to understand how Kishimoto never really improved on his female character writing. But anyway, enough of the cover thing. It's time to get to the actual chapter, and you pretty much have Sarada going to Shikamaru, to the 8th Hokage about how she keeps explaining what's happening with Boruto over and over, and it's revealed that Shikamaru is the 8th Hokage.
You know, the thing I find funny, like thinking about this in retrospect, the two laziest kids in the academy became the leaders of the village. I don't know. I thought about that and I was like, that's actually kind of funny. Just thinking about it.
You're going a bit too fast, Lucky Chi, that you're sounding a bit quiet, so I didn't quite hear that.
Okay, no, I said I think it's funny how the two laziest kids in the academy essentially became the leaders of the village. That
In one ways, yes, it's kind of ironic since Asuma said that Shikamaru could probably become Hokage, but he's too damn lazy that he'd hate the job.
yeah.
Which, yes, in many ways, you could argue this is a way of foreshadowing that, but frankly, the idea of Shikamaru becoming Hokage feels really. I mean, it feels like very like Shikamaru of all people.
It feels very Shikamaru.
I mean, to be honest, I'm not really sure if Shikamaru really would want the job. I think he's pretty much fine just being an advisor.
You know what? Here, okay, I'll say this. And I feel like it's always kind of a case with the Hokages where you always kind of have like the one person that like does thing in the front, and then you have the one person like in the back, right? Like with Hashirama, you did technically have Tobirama, and then Tobirama we don't really know too much on who we had behind the scenes, but with Hiruzen, he had Donzo. And
Right, I wouldn't really call Donzo his right hand man. It's more of the two teammates.
But like you did have like the yin and yang of like the leadership positions. You know, that's kind of what I'm referring to.
Okay.
Like you had the one person that like had the village's best interests at heart, and then you had the ones that were like taking it from a more practical approach.
To be honest, I'm pretty certain that's only really Hashiyama and let's see, the third Hokage. I mean, granted, the fourth Hokage only lasted like 1 year.
Well, that's the thing. Like with Minato, we don't really know too much about that. The ones with that we know more on, you know.
To be honest, it's only really like the first and like the third Hokage. Arguably, you could say Naruto and Shikamaru, but I don't know. I definitely feel like Shikamaru was made to be a bit forced to be that kind of character just to try and force bits of the plot points to that. But frankly, yeah. But honestly, Shikamaru does not strike me as like okay. Intelligence wise, yes, I can see him as Hokage, but power scaling wise.
Yeah, no, power scaling wise is a different question. But if we're talking about like being like the brains behind everything, I could see it.
Yeah, but power scaling wise, not really.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, Jonin, yes, I can see Shikamaru being a Jonin. I can see pretty much everyone in the K11 being Jonin, but no, most of them just stuck to being Chunin, except Rock Lee and Sakura. So, yeah. But which frankly gets me to my next point. It feels like, let's see, the only ones that are arguably have, let's see, strength in the modern, in like the K11 generation to actually be considered Kage level would be, of course, Sakura because of what we've seen her strength accomplish, and arguably she's as strong as Tsunade, if not stronger.
See, I'll say this. I was more so in the... Because Shikamaru wasn't really on my radar on who was going to take the position as Hokage. I thought it would have been Kakashi.
Yeah, I would get that a bit. But yeah, but arguably, if you had to do a new Hokage, it should have been like Sakura, Rock Lee maybe, but granted, we don't know how strong if he's got like the mastery of his like the remaining 2 gates. So assumingly he probably could do all 8 gates now. But granted, Rock Lee probably like my guy is not really interested in like the Hokage thing. But yeah, but arguably Sakura would be the logical choice. Now, granted, like she hasn't appeared in like over 50 chapters, so like that. But arguably, you didn't really necessarily need to do a new Hokage, and you could have just gone and got arguably Kakashi back running as Hokage, even Tsunade, because they're both still alive. Now, granted, Kakashi has not appeared in Boruto in the Boruto manga even once.
Yeah.
But granted, which is a bit of a problem, but arguably it should have probably brought him back as Hokage.
Yeah.
No, so that little rant on Shikamaru over. It's just like, okay, I can see intelligence-wise, but strength-wise, no, and I can even see some people saying the sort of Hokage mentor-studentship line has sort of been broken a bit since Shikamaru does not directly come from that line.
Yeah.
But I'd argue Shikamaru still has a connection to that Hokage line because his mentor was Asuma, the son of the 3rd Hokage. So you still have a sort of
You have like a very light connection.
Yeah.
Like it's not as big as say with Naruto was, where you had Minato, who was the the protege of Jiraiya, who was the protege of Hiruzen.
Yeah.
List goes on and on.
So you've got at least because at least in every generation from that, you've had at least one Hokage from each of them since Kakashi eventually became Hokage.
Yeah.
Now, granted, arguably Team 7 never really the members of Team 7, the original Team 7, never really had Genin squads of their own. The closest you got is Naruto being Konohamaru's disciple. I mean, Konohamaru being Naruto's disciple. And then arguably that goes for them. But granted, arguably Konohamaru, no one buys that he is Kage level material. And frankly, I think many people find him to be a bit of a joke. But
I mean, the only protege Shikamaru has, from what I know, is Mirai. That's it.
Yeah, which is something I've been meaning to tell you. I really want to try and cover those hot spring chapters at some point. But yeah.
When you say hot spring, people are gonna be like, "Ooh, spicy."
No, okay. Let's see the journey to the land of stream. Land of steam. Let me rephrase that.
Mm-hmm.
But fine. The land of steam arc, if you will. I've been meaning to try and get you to cover that with you, but yeah. But Konohamaru, and arguably him being an advisor of Shikamaru, I can see. It seems like okay, I can see that, but I think the more I see it, the more it's like I feel like likely that Konohamaru is never going to become Hokage at this point now, unless you're going to make Sarada the 10th. If you want to make Sarada the 10th Hokage and him the 9th Hokage, but I have a feeling that Sarada is going to be the 9th Hokage.
That's the 10th? Well, I guess if you want to have a nice even number,
But arguably, arguably there'll be too many Hokages now. Heck, I even argue with Shikamaru, there's too many Hokages now.
Well, I'll say this: I think Shikamaru has like a huge death plan on him.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, but yeah. Now, granted, it's definitely like the Kahuna has too many Hokages compared to the rest. I mean, the Stone Village literally only has 4. The Sand is still on 5.
Kurotsuchi, right? Yeah.
Yeah. The Sand Village is still on 5 because Gaara. There's no way Kishimoto is killing him off, or whoever's writing Boruto off. The Cloud, has 5 as well with Dari.
Yeah.
And the only one that even gets close to like the Leafs number is the Mist Village. But then again, I feel like Chodro would just feel like a random substitute. Granted, I feel like all the other 5 nations minus Gaara feel like
random. Given the fact that Chodro did have an infatuation over May, I could see like very slightly of why he would want to
Arguably, but honestly, it just feels like you just let's see, you just had it's like Kishimoto felt like epilogue new Kages for each of the village minus the sand, and just like Ojiro is the only character that's still alive at that point.
Well, considering the fact that also we didn't get the other Kages until I hate to be that guy until post Pain. That is the other issue.
Arguably, yes. Long term, Kishimoto should have created some characters that were going to be the next generation of Kage much sooner. But yeah, but arguably, but that's a problem for another day. But yeah, you pretty much have Sarada complaining to Shikamaru and Kanahamaru about Boruto and not understanding, but they keep on, but they still have the altered memories, so they think Boruto betrayed the village. And who killed tried to kill who killed Naruto and then tried to kill his son. With her trying to insist that the whole premise is wrong and let him try and explain his side of things, but they're not convinced because of he went on the run and also Ida's Suringan's eyewitness testimony and all that stuff. And she's trying to plead them, but they're insisting that, but saying that it's even if he did do it, it's against the will of the Leaf because the majority of the people all think Boruto killed the Hokage, and as a result, they're all angry at this betrayal. So they would not stand for any pardons with Boruto since he supposedly killed Naruto. And it will be the last time that they will ever speak of this and tells them to go back to the mission with her just complaining. But Konohamaru going that's the Lord 8 you're talking to. But yeah, but pretty much Konohamaru has pretty much become the Shizune at this point. Which ironically, I think Shizune ended up becoming an assistant to Kakashi and Naruto, which really felt out of place, to be honest.
I mean, but, I can see why she would still. But
to be honest, I feel like she'd probably just. I think she's more loyal to Tsunade, really, and just probably be her attendant. Arguably, Kakashi probably should have had someone else, and Naruto arguably should have had someone else. But I'm not going to get into who that should be. But yeah. Let's see, but anyway, it's revealed here that Sadra is apparently still a Genin, even though the anime made her a Chunin.
Which, and I've mentioned this already, an easy fix that I think the anime is probably going to do is that she's going to get demoted because of her persistence of what she's been doing over the last few years. Because I know that's been a big thing of okay, how is the anime going to address that? Just say she get demoted.
That was Tsukipa as a tuning, but frankly, I don't know if the demoting thing works because, well, that has never been a thing in this franchise and never been shown.
Well, we've never known about it.
But granted, this shows me just about how ridiculous the whole ranking system is in Naruto. But yeah, I just felt but yeah, I still felt like it's a bit ridiculous. But let's see, she's going on about let's see, Sarada's talking about how her father's now considered a traitor still, and arguably
and also the fact that she's learned about what his past was like. So that I think was actually kind of,
well, to be honest, we don't know how much of Sasuke's past she actually knows about.
But she's known that he'd gone rogue in the past. She at least knows that much.
Yeah, we know. Okay, we know that she at least knows that for a time period Sasuke went to a rogue ninja, but we don't know how much of Sasuke's crimes she actually knows and why he did those crimes.
Yeah,
which is still, frankly, a major issue I have with how the whole Sasuke stuff was resolved. But yes, but she's saying how Naruto never gave up on trying to bring back his dad. Let's see, granted, yes, okay, she says, and committed great crimes, but we still don't know what she knows, so, and Naruto's still a Genin, apparently, which I still hate the fact that, let's see, this is something that the anime's done, it was about how Kage still has that previous rank, and Naruto feels like he never really passed the Chunin exam, so he's still technically a Genin. I've always disliked that, and frankly, said Naruto should have been should be at least a Jonin when he became Hokage.
I mean,
yes, I know that the anime did their little 2-year promotion thing, but the anime's gone back and forth about Naruto's ranks. So
no. I was gonna say this. I could, symbolically, I could get the message of rank doesn't really matter when it comes to strength and overall goals. I can kind of see the symbolism behind that of you don't have to achieve this specific rank for to attain that, but we've talked about this. The ranking scale system in Naruto is, I think, should have been more explored in part one.
Arguably, yes. Arguably, frankly, long term, the whole tuning exams and the ranking systems doesn't really work. When the more you realize just how big the village's military got, and went by, and it was just mostly an excuse to do a tournament arc. But frankly, I'd say, let's see. Yes, I can get symbolically, and even Naruto saying if he was a Genin for the rest of his life. But given what we've seen of the hierarchy and how what you need to do to become Hokage, it does feel out of place, and it feels like Naruto never got some of those achievements that he should have had. But yeah, and also I think I've seen people make fun of the fact that Naruto going on about how there are no shortcuts to Hokage, but then you got that meme of Naruto just jumping ranks to Hokage. So it's no, you probably should have become Hokage. But granted, this is arguably something how Kishimoto probably should not just had the Chunin exams as the only way to become a Chunin, and had other ways to become that sort of ninja. Granted, I think so he kept Naruto as a Genin because Sasuke was a Genin. But yeah.
Yeah, there's well, if you want to have be on completely equal levels.
But frankly, I'd find that to be just ridiculous. But yeah. Granted, honestly, sometimes I kind of just wish Kishimoto had just made Sasuke a Chunin just before he left the village. Just so that Naruto
goes a long way, doesn't it, Blue?
I'm sorry, what?
I said camaraderie goes such a long way.
But yeah, I do feel like it was just a forced thing. I mean, Sasuke was a character that didn't need to care about rank. Naruto, on the other hand, since his goal was to be Hokage, should at least had some focus on that. Which, but yeah. But let's see. But yeah, she's pretty much saying that Lord Seventh is her idol, not him. In regards to Shikamaru, who's the Hokage. And which, speaking of which, we are then cut to the dimension Kawaki has trapped Naruto and Hinata in which they're still in a sleep.
They haven't aged a day. That's the other thing.
Well, to be honest, there's been a bit of a debate whether or not those two have actually aged, but granted, to be honest, I'd argue that Shikamaru doesn't look like he's aged a bit as well. And to be fair, that was also the case with part 1 and part 2 with the majority of the adults. I mean, Kakashi pretty much looked the same, and Tsunade and Jirai pretty much looked the same.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't like with One Piece where you saw where Oda pretty much gave every character nearly every character in the time skip a different design, no matter how old or young they were.
Well, okay, let's be fair. Luffy's design, the only big difference between his design pre-time skip and post-time skip is
the scar.
The fact that he has that scar on his chest. That's the only big difference.
Okay, yeah, arguably the least amount of changes.
Yeah.
Maybe also Bora Hancock as well. But arguably, in the majority of the One Piece characters, they have had some very noticeable changes.
Yeah.
But pretty much. So in the state, and you've got Kawaki, which so looks like someone from Tokyo Ghoul. He's pretty much just got leather belt, black.
Tokyo Ghoul.
I mean, not Tokyo Ghoul. I mean, Tokyo Revengers.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
as a hardcore Tokyo Ghoul fan, I take that as an offense.
All right, fine. Tokyo Revengers, and he's got like a sort of now mohawk, like hairstyle. Well, granted, I think he might have always had that, but
And next thing you know, you're gonna piss off a lot of Tokyo Revengers fans too.
I don't care. From my understanding, half of them found the ending of Tokyo Revengers to be bad. From what I understand, I mean, granted, I haven't read it, so I can't really tell, but I did hear talks about some finding that ending to be very poor.
I'll be honest. I haven't checked that Tokyo Revengers, so I can't say much on it either.
Yeah, but yeah. And also it's got some sort of leather jacket, which also still feels like, yeah, this feels like some street punk guy. And then you've got, let's see, I believe Surami, is it? Sumi?
Sumire? Yeah.
Yeah, Sumire just reminding Sarada that Shikamaru's memories will be altered, and you see her design of her looking like a middle school schoolgirl in Japan. That's, I think, what it reminds me of. Which also kind of feels out of place in Naruto world. Just because you've never really seen like that sort of schoolgirl thing. I mean, if it was like an alternative universe where you did like a Kahona High kind of thing, I could see this working, but I don't know. It feels out of place.
Yeah. I mean, regular outfits isn't exactly a new thing for Naruto because.
Yeah, but it felt okay. Yeah, you see, normal citizens. Yeah, I can see this, but it's like she's a ninja, and also.
Well, I was gonna bring up Gato.
Gato. Okay, yeah, Gato is like the one. Yeah, like Gato, the one exception with a business suit, but that was very early on Naruto, and that was also someone outside of a ninja village.
I know.
But here, it just, I don't know, the schoolgirl thing, it just feels weird. But yeah, but she's pretty much reminding them that they are probably weird ones as they all think Kawaki is like Naruto's son and Boruto is the outsider. So they're talking a bit about that, which frankly, I'll be honest, I don't know why Sada keep spouting like that, because I think people would get a bit suspicious that you keep thinking that Boruto is like actually innocent and all that stuff, and they would have some suspicions on you. But you think you would be on the low for that?
I mean, considering who her mother is.
Well, yeah, but I think even Sakura would be a bit more would probably have not have would keep repeating this like for a couple of years. I mean, remember, even though Sakura had a bit of her own rash personality. See, when Sasuke was revealed to be a member of the Akatsuki, she came with like she immediately realized the whole situation.
Yeah.
Let's see, once it was explained a bit more to her, so it's like compared to Naruto, but yeah.
Definitely.
So but they're talking about how let's see, apparently omnipotence's ability as an effect over the years, people have less doubts in those memories. Which was them wondering how they're going to try and counter it. And then we of course cut back to
Ada.
Ada, who
hasn't really changed that much.
Yeah, the only thing that seems to have changed is her top.
That's it. And Damon has a onesie. By the looks of things.
Yeah, honestly, it's hard to tell if he's actually aged as well. And frankly, they're still telling them that it's unavoidable to change the omnipotence, I think.
Yeah.
With her saying she has no control since it was Kawaki's will that forced it to happen due to her feelings for him. Though she has started to get a better understanding of how it works. Sarada keeps insisting. And apparently it's some type of Otsutsuki Shinjutsu. Oh, by the way, there was like another Otsutsuki guard who is beyond the realm of living and has an ability called Senjutsu, and many of the abilities of Itsuki are that. So,
Shibai, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. So So another another thing that's made ninjutsu kind of irrelevant. Let's see. So she pretty much reminds them that everything that they remembered about Boruto and Kawaki has been rewritten, and there's not really a way to reverse it unless the only thing you can do is like try and create new memories, from what I'm saying. So
Actually, I'm curious. When was Shinjutsu ever brought up?
I can't recall. I skimmed through that chapter.
Well, no, not in board. I mean, like in general.
What, Shinjutsu?
Yeah, just as a concept.
I'm pretty certain it's only in Boruto. There's never the only other concept besides ninjutsu that was introduced in Naruto was ninshu. The Sage of Six Paths, more peaceful version of it.
Let's see. Senjutsu is known to be taught at 2 locations: Mount Miyoboku and Ryuji Cave. Interesting.
Are you talking about Senjutsu?
Yeah, Senjutsu.
Okay, Lucky Chi, you might want to be a bit more louder because I thought you were talking about the Boruto one.
Oh.
But yeah, but pretty much the only senjutsus you have are like in like Naruto was like the 3 animal summonings. Granted, we never saw the slug one, and Hashiyama's wood style, which though for we know that could have been the slug style one, but yeah. Let's see. But granted, Adis gets a bit suspicious that they have their memories affected, so they're wondering if as she goes on, but also saying that they're better to just rewrite new memories, just that are different. Now, granted, this whole memory rewriting thing, I'm not sure if I brought this up before, but the whole thing with that is the implications as implied is that the history has also been rewritten a few times, so that could easily be a way they can reveal that Boruto's reality was not originally supposed to exist, but it has been altered so that characters like Boruto and Sarada could be born, where Naruto was supposed to be with someone else.
I think you're looking too deep into that one.
Yeah, let's see. Maybe I am, but that is always the possibility when you do this sort of rewrite of Itzy history and memories and alterations like that, Lucky Chi.
I know. I'm just saying, like,
yeah. Let's see.
Now, would that be something
they do?
They do? I mean,
probably
I would
not.
Against it, I'd be like, all right, that's interesting.
No,
but
probably not. But they've opened the pan.
I was just gonna say, like, I think at best we're just gonna get the surface level thing of like, okay,
yeah,
the memories are sort of written. That's it.
Yeah, but frankly, they've opened Pandora's box, and whether or not those who thought that this was a genius move could find out that Boruto's reality could end up being altered or erased or retconned in the end if they're not careful. But yeah, I mean, is it going to happen?
Grasping at straws, though, but we'll see.
I mean, but it's always a possibility in the back. It's always a possibility, a slim one, but the Pandora's box has been opened for that kind of thing. But we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
But yeah, but Ada's pretty much getting suspicious since they're not Atsuki, so they're wondering how their memory's not been altered, and wondering if also her ability to attract anyone has happened. With both of them trying to remember not to let figure out that they are not attracted to her, especially her little brother, who, as Damon will try and eliminate anyone who proves to be a threat to his sister.
Mm-hmm.
So they lie and just say that putting a front.
Yep.
I mean, whether or not she actually believes it, she seems to say she believes it, but I think Ada seems to still have her suspicions, or at least Damon still has it.
Yeah. And
then you get to Kawaki, who's just looking outside, with her just realizing that who's him talking to, like Mitsuki, who has like arguably, to be honest, the only one that feels like he still has a sort of ninja design for me.
See, I'm the opposite. He looks like a paper bag. I'm like, what is that design? Like, that's just me, though. In my opinion, I think he could have had a much better design.
Honestly, I'd say get rid of the belt and have something more like a ninja sash. And I think that would work much better. But honestly, I feel like he looks more like a ninja than any of the like the time skip cast.
I guess. But
Oh yeah, I'll probably say this. One thing I forgot to mention is that Shikamaru seems to have brought back the cape, the long Hokage cape.
Yep.
Which I'd say is the only like improvement. That is the only improvement because the short one was awful. Now, granted, for some reason he only has half his shirt tucked in.
Well, like I said, Ikimoto is a fashion guy, so
Yeah, well,
I'm not saying that as an excuse. I'm just saying, hey, that's just his thing.
Let's see. Well, critically, I think his fashion choices does not fit the Naruto world. But pretty much you have Kawaki telling Mitsutsuki to chill with his bloodlust, though he says that he still wants to kill Boruto, and thinks like he's going to try and come after him, and also Boruto's probably mastered all the Otsutsuki abilities of erasing himself. With Kawaki thinks that Boruto will eventually come. With Mitsutsuki saying he wants to protect him, but Kawaki just says, just do as you please, but don't follow him around like 24/7. As a squad tells Kawaki to come and search somewhere as he starts to fly off because he seems to have mastered the Otsutsuki's floating ability.
Mm-hmm.
So, So he flies off, and Mitsutsuki thinks about how Kawaki's supposed to be the shining sun thing, but clearly you can tell he has some doubts in this because, well, it's supposed to be Boruto that's supposed to be his inspiration.
Which I mean, it's being set up right now that Mitsuki's probably going to be one of the first ones to kind of get the switch back. I feel just as exactly based on this. So.
Arguably, possibly him for this, but
I'm not saying he's going to be the very first one, but I will definitely say, like, at least the
probably the first of non-family members, if I had to guess.
Yeah, definitely.
But anyway, speaking of family, we now cut to Himurari, who is sparring against the members of Team 10. Yeah, let's see, as we see her trying to first kick Chocho.
Yeah.
I'll get to their designs in a bit as she's throwing shurikens at him later. She's using expansion jutsu. And, actually, it's just Chocho she's sparring against. But Chocho eventually wins the fight by grabbing her with the, expansion arm. And then you see Shikadai and
Inojin.
Yeah, Inojin. I don't really remember their names because, frankly, I think they all suck. But yeah. With their new designs as well, thinking that Himari has improved. So I think it's time to get into the designs. You've got Chocho with has now got pigtails, I think.
Yeah.
And just only has like a sort of like short top, I think, and a sort of like coat jacket. Let's see, Shikadai has just arguably some trousers, a jean, and a sort of like a black jacket. Arguably, you could say it's similar to what Naruto had, but I don't know. But it's still it feels less ninja-like. It feels less ninja-like.
I'll say this.
Because I know some people go to defend the Boruto designs of saying oh, Naruto didn't really look like that much of a ninja, and well, yes, the orange thing is, but I'd say Naruto and the rest of the K11 cast, even when they're not, even if they weren't all looking like ninja, they at least had that sort of martial arts theme. They felt like they were in the world of martial artists.
I'll say this: if we're talking about Ino Shikacho, just for the new gen, Enogene is the odd one out of the two, I would say.
Well, yeah,
Like his design, I don't know.
okay. Granted, he still has the leg with the thing in, which I'm fine
Yeah, I
with.
do like that. I'm talking about his
Everything.
shirt.
Yeah, he looks like a kid in the modern world.
Yeah, the shirt is where I'm like, come on, Enogene.
Yeah, it's like
Like his pre-time skip design actually looked decent. I would say.
yeah. Hold on, let me just take a look. Gene. Okay. Okay. Well, he looked like a young version of his of his father, pretty much. I mean,
But you could still see that. Okay, it's got the ninja
yeah,
vibe to
it's
it.
got the ninja vibes. Granted, I don't really like any of the pre-Boruto time skip designs either. Frankly, I think let's see. I haven't really liked any of the designs post like the ending of Shippuden. But that's just me. Hold on in a sec, Blurkichi. I'm just gonna be just give me a minute. I'll just be back in a thing. I just gotta take care of something. I just want you to just comment on just like the fight that just went on between Chocho and Harami
So
while I'm away.
okay, so if I remember correctly, because it's been all to talk about this portion of the chapter, like just this chapter alone. But I mean, Himawari is showcasing some stuff against JoJo. It's like she's probably what the same age as Boruto was in part one. So I mean, as far as like skills and everything goes, like okay, obviously if Masashi was drawing this, it would look a lot different for sure. But I think if we're talking about just like training by itself, it's fine. I don't think it's bad by any means. And I mean, you do kind of have the ninja choreography with the shurikens, which I personally think went missing in part two. But you got that. You got the human boulder going in for the attack, and yeah, like Chojo essentially having the upper hand on Himawari, which makes sense given that she's more experienced in that front. So it's just that.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just a fight, so I'll just say that. But now let's just get into her design. Let's see, honestly, she's got like a sunflower shirt and just like modern day jeans, which doesn't really work for me. I mean, it feels like
I don't think they're jeans. I think they're sweats.
Okay, sweats and a sunflower shirt, though. Granted, I think like
which the sweats doesn't really bother me that much. I could see where the sweats would fit in.
Yeah, I think the only thing that bothers, let's see, I mean, she looks like a civilian, and frankly, I can't but help but wonder if Ikimoto's being a bit creepy with her design in some ways.
Creepy. Are you talking about the belly button?
Yeah, I feel like like with her, I feel like she is too young to have that.
Well, I wasn't even looking at that.
Let's see. Well, unfortunately, it's yeah. Well, I'm not saying it. Don't imply anything, Blackichi, but it's just I feel like it's a bit just given Ikimoto's past with Sarada. I'm just wondering. But yeah, but
I mean, we'll see where it goes. But like as far as like chapter one, like I don't think it's like anything.
But frankly, I don't really like the design, and I feel like, and I don't really like her hair either. It just feels like it's a bad, trying to make a bad drawing of Hinata.
I think it looks better compared to how she was showcased in part one. I'll say that.
Well, both this hair design and this hair design in the part one, I think, are both awful.
Well, that's you.
Yeah, whatever. But yeah, I don't know.
And, okay, the sunflower on the shirt thing. Now, this isn't anything new. because her name does mean sunflower, so that's
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. I think that's fine. I'm just like I'm just questioning the length of the shirt. Really, that's the only thing. But that's just because of just previous stuff with Ikimoto.
past, yeah.
Just Ikimoto's past of drawing Sarada.
Which, I mean, like I said, the anime's probably gonna have it to where it's like.
Yeah, the anime will probably tone it down, of course.
Definitely.
But yeah, but anyway, they're pretty much talking. They're going on about why of like she wants to get so strong, and she reveals that she kind of wants to help Boruto, which they're confused about because of what he did to her father. But she remembers some parts of her, some memory of him helping her, and different from what she remembers, and it also feels like let's see, protecting like that Boruto wants to protect his dad and her, and also she feels like deep down her dad is still alive somewhere, which confuses them. But then you cut back to like Kawaki, who's using his sort of like Otsutsuki eye ability thing. I don't know what it's called, and I don't really care to find out. It's just that sort of shrink eye ability, which he does to do one of the belts. With some counter guards complimenting him of like doing it, but talking about how they become a lot more frequently lately. And apparently they're talking about how he's got several thousand soldiers. And they're wondering why he has got a grudge against Boruto, so they should be wondering if they would just battle each other out and just do it to not be their problem, if you will.
Yeah.
But I think Kawaki then starts to get suspicious and checks on them, and they get one of the Leaf Ninjas, and they realize that and he reveals that one of them has a claw mark on their back.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but so they wonder. And he ends up asking how long did they not notice, and this leads to some suspicions that as Kawaki is then communicating with Shikamaru that many of the Leaf Ninjas that they've gone to check might actually have those claw marks. So if they're not careful, that means like a lot of those villagers have those marks. So any of those either code or any of his like clone, ten-tailed clone things could pop out, and you see with one of the two, with two of those ninjas talking. One of them does pop out, and then you've got like people reporting that they've got intruders. One of them being like one of those Leaf Ninja that seems to have the same headgear as Choji. I mean, no, not Choji. I mean Shino. Which, yeah, I'm still not a fan of those headgears. That seems like something that you would see in Star Trek. But pretty much the clones are starting to attack. Attack the villagers and the ninja, with one of them saying that we need the police force, and you see that they're everywhere, and you've got Shikamaru telling everyone to do an emergency evacuation and to send ninjas to the right locations, get ready to try and fight with everyone to get prepared for a fight. But he's wondering now also why Code after all this time. And interesting here, we've got a bit of the chapter where due to some like mishaps in one of the
edits,
to like spoilers, many people thought, me included, thought that this was like Sakura had appeared in this time skip as a helpless against these ten-tailed Setsu Frieza clones, if you will, which turns out
that's why I stopped looking at spoilers, because I was like,
yeah.
Because, like, if there's one thing I learned about Naruto, especially when it came to spoilers, 95% of the time, they weren't accurate. So I was like, okay, people are probably just overreacting on this.
Yeah. During when Naruto was going out, they were very inaccurate. In fact, I saw all kinds of different spoilers. I had Naruto going very different directions in the Kage Summit arc, as for example.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll definitely say spoilers have become a lot more accurate over the years. Well, at least from what I can tell, One Piece spoilers for the most part tend to be very accurate. The only latest exception I can think of is when was the extent of like the Luffy versus Rob Lucci rematch, in which, let's see, the initial spoilers imply that Luffy took him out in one shot and he ran away like a coward, which that did not happen. But other than that, One Piece ones are accurate, so I had no reason to doubt these Boruto ones, but turns out it was just an edit. But frankly, the civilian looked quite a bit like you could imagine her looking like Sakura quite a bit. But I will say, if it was Sakura, I would have given this chapter a 0 out of 10. Just because it's like, she should not be helpless against these kind of beings. Other than that, you've got a civilian that seems to have Naruto's old Shippuden outfit design. Or at least an amateur version of it. But then you get Kawaki saving some civilian, telling them to run and follow the shinobi's instructions, so they'll run. And you get Sarada coming in, out, and kicking one of them as well. Which, okay.
She kicks one of the clawgrams. Where did it come from?
Yeah, and
one of them's like
coming out of the gritty grime clones, if you will.
Like they're coming in waves.
Yeah, so more of them are coming out as they realize what's going on, and then eventually Code pops out, and he looks like Count Dracula, pretty much.
I didn't even think about that, but I could kind of see it with the outfit.
Yeah, honestly, I think he looks kind of, like I said, he also looks ridiculous.
Honestly, his outfit doesn't really even bother me.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably the least offensive, but it also feels like the less serious to take.
Oh no, not that. I'm talking about like what he's been up to. Like, okay, the guy has a scar over his left eye, and the thing is, he didn't have that pre-time skip. So I'm thinking, like, how do you take an L before the time skip off screen? Like, I'm sorry, that's just sad. That is honestly now. Okay, you could argue, well, we didn't see how Zoro got his scar in One Piece. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, we didn't, but the difference is that I think Zoro just happened during training. I feel.
Yeah, and Zoro at least still ended up being a badass afterwards.
Yeah, like Code has to. Like, here's the thing, and like even the Boruto community, from what I've seen, like it's a meme at this point. Code is like just a master of L's. He takes L after L after L. That's
yeah. It's like he's seriously supposed to be stronger than the guy that pretty much Naruto had to sacrifice Kurama to kill.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah, no one buys it.
Yeah,
but yeah, the only other example I was going to think is that Anakin from Attack of the Clones to Revenge of the Sith had a scar, which in EU Legends was apparently a duel between him and the Sarge Ventress, though George Lucas joked about he got it from a slip from the bathtub. But yeah. He's got a scar, which implies that he seems to have encountered probably Boruto and Sasuke, and got a scar. But
we also get from Sarada that he left 3 years ago, so it's concrete that it's been 3 years.
Yeah, so
and that Code is trying to follow him for like almost 2 now. So
yeah, but I'll get to that in a second. But they're like, this is apparently their first meeting. And he goes like he's looking for Boruto, but she's like, he's not been here for like the 3 years. And after 2 years of chasing, he decided that he's going to come here and take his former friends as hostage so he can summon here, and decides that he's going to try and torture Sarada and make her scream to see if that would get him here, as she's now surrounded and she looks pretty much damsel in distress. And then Boruto suddenly appears, kicking him in the face, which, yeah, it's another one of those L's.
I know, like, I'm sorry, Code. Like, to any Code fans out there, I mean,
all 2 of you.
I don't
That's
know.
just this joke I remember people saying about 10 fans. There's only being 2 of them, but yeah, go on. But go on, Lucky Chi.
Like, okay, it's embarrassing that you take an L before the time skip, but to take it, like, literally, he takes a foot to the face. That's not even joke material. That's literally what happens here. He literally takes a foot to the face. I don't know. But yeah, Boruto steps in, and I'll say this. I know Blue's not going to like it when I say this. As far as time skip introductions go, I did think Boruto's time skip introduction was really cool. I will say that.
Boo! Boo!
Hey,
Boo!
hey, look.
Boo!
Hey, I'm saying
Boo!
if Naruto had a time skip introduction like this in Shippuden, I don't think he would have said the same thing. Would you now? Come on, be honest. If Naruto, for the first chapter of part 2, if he stepped in and that's what he did, don't act like he would have had the same reaction.
Well, to be honest, I find this one to be poorly drawn.
Yeah, no, like, okay, the drawing aside, like, if we're talking about, like, just the sequence alone, I mean, it's cool.
It depends on who Naruto was kicking.
Ebisu.
Who?
How do you forget about Ebisu?
Oh,
And you call yourself a Naruto fan? Man.
Okay, Lucky Cheat, hold on. I remember Ebisu now. It's just that you was very quiet in saying it. I didn't quite hear you. I was like, wait, let's see, wait, who are you talking about? It's like, I didn't quite hear. But yes, I know Ebisu. Let's see, Naruto's, let's see, Konohamaru's teacher. Granted, I feel like that would be more for comedic moment, but frankly, but fine. But fine, yes, arguably, and it's okay, arguably an introduction like that might not be bad, but the execution of it, I feel here, that just doesn't really work for me. And frankly, those who are going like it's the best introduction ever, I think.
Oh no! I never said it was the best introduction ever. I just said
I'm not saying you, but I'm saying though, like Boruto fans were going like this is the best introduction ever. No, I mean honestly, Naruto.
I feel is an exaggeration for sure. 100%.
I mean, and frankly, to be honest, I found Naruto's Sage Mode introduction to be much superior to this.
But keep in mind that was also midway through the time skip.
Yeah, but also here in the time skip, you already got Kona being evaded. So arguably, you can sort of compare to that in a similar situation.
See, I wouldn't go that
far. Well, let's see. Well, I've seen people.
Well, keep in mind about this. Konoha hasn't been destroyed yet in Boruto, so there's that rebuttal too.
Yeah, well, it's still being invaded. So, but also I have seen people compare the two to compare the two, these two moments.
Y'all are jumping the gun on that one. I'm not even gonna say. Look, if we're comparing both of those, obviously yes, the Naruto introduction on Pain is definitely the better one. But again, context of the story, that is midway. That comes post Naruto training with Kakashi, which I think is that's dumb. No, and here's the thing. I love Kakashi, but Naruto should have come out stronger at the start of part 2.
Okay, we're not arguing about Naruto's strength here. Arguably, we're not arguing about his strength, but frankly, I found Naruto's introduction in part 2 better than this. Yes, it wasn't an action cool entrance moment, but I definitely say it felt like it's a return home hero welcome, if you will.
Yeah. I mean, there's a different context behind it for sure.
Yeah, the context is different, but honestly, I probably prefer Naruto's reintroduction. Be it, let's see, the Kazekage one or the Pain arc. And
Can I
frankly,
say I prefer Shippuden's opening better than the manga?
are you talking about the anime?
Yeah, like where they show the flash forward of Naruto and Sakura reuniting with Sasuke. Can I say I like that a little bit better than what we got with the manga? Is that fair for me to say?
To be honest, I can see why they did it, but to be honest, I prefer the manga contents of Naruto and Sakura uniting. I probably prefer the manga than the animes.
Well, I can see why.
Don't go there.
I wasn't talking about that. I was just saying like artistically, what I'm referring to.
Okay,
I'm
fair
saying
enough.
artistically, I can see why.
Yeah. To be honest, I probably find that one a bit better. I mean, but yeah. So pretty much Boruto's kicked him, and then Boruto's making some sort of line saying that kind of sick thinking creeps girls out and all that. With Cole trying to attack him, and then everyone starts to sense Boruto's presence, just like and they've realized that he's somehow apparently telling Shikamaru he seems to have infiltrated from the sky. You see Ada looking there, Sarami, Kawaki turning, and telling them to that everyone to prioritize Code and his claw grimes, and also to keep an eye
moving on board.
yeah, and what his plans are, as you just see him standing around to like
the claw grimes,
the clones, which I think many people have commented that Boruto's neck looks way too long.
Yeah, I didn't even notice that the first time. Like, I had to go back. I was like, "Is it just me or does his neck look a little?"
Yeah, it's like you need to cut down that neck collar.
Yeah, which, and of course, you have Sarada looking over, very reminiscent of the fourth grade ninja war with Sakura. As soon as Sasuke shows up, it's like,
Don't remind me. Don't bring that.
Look, I'm just saying that's similarities here. So
don't Ritzy bring me up that. Don't Ritzy that Fritzy trash ship.
Okay, I'll say this: I liked it better in the manga versus the anime because the anime they overdid it.
Well, to be honest, I'd say the manga version. To be honest, the manga version, Sakura just seems more genuinely shocked than romantic. To be honest, here this might imply a romance, but yeah. But let's see, Karaki, and the chapter ends with Karaki saying that Boruto's finally shown himself. So yeah. Yep. So arguably, so as for my thoughts on this chapter.
Go on.
Argue if you're going to be honest, average at best.
Average at best. For me, if I remember my exact rating, I gave it like a good plus. So
you gave it a what?
Like a good plus, which is like in my own ranking scale. If I remember this off the top of my head, it's like a 6.5.
Boo! Boo!
I'm being honest. I'm not like I'm not gonna sugarcoat it just for pure blindness.
No, I'm just trying to make fun of you. I'm just making fun of you.
Like
but
good. Okay, I say good plus, and I say arguably great. But I thought more about it, and I was like, it's good plus.
Sounds more like an okay plus from the way you're describing it.
Oh no, that's chapter 2.
Honestly, okay, so pretty much this chapter is pretty much just being like time skip, like what's happening, like Shikamaru's
what's been going on.
Yeah, Shikamaru's Hokage, the omnipotence has become more and more effective as people still remember that as now have their memories altered. Only Sarada and Sumire still remain the only two, and as a result, there may be some suspicions from like Ida and Damien to like how much they don't get affected to their abilities. Now, I'm going to say if the answer to those two not being affected is the fact that they're in love with Boruto, I'm going to be annoyed.
See, Sarda, I don't know, but Sumire, I think the logical explanation would probably be like her connection to New Way or something.
I mean, her connection to what?
To New Way, her summoning.
You mean a summoning that has not appeared once in this manga?
Yes, Blue.
This is what happens when you just do all the stuff in multiple different mediums. It's like seriously, I have to watch this or read that just to understand it. Let's see, but yeah. But pretty much you've got that, and they still don't remember. But granted, you've got like hints of like maybe Masutsuki questioning like his own memories, and Himuramori still being like Ritzy want to help Boruto for some reason as well. So you got that, but you've pretty much then you got people just being kept quiet of like just trying to keep an eye on Code or Boruto's whereabouts, and then Code suddenly invading with his 10-tailed clone army, if you will. And then Boruto shows up to try and be a hero. Arguably, yes, on paper, this feels like something that should be amazing, but I feel like the art style...
Yeah, no, the art style for me did bring down the chapter.
The art style and the designs for the characters don't feel like Naruto and don't definitely feel like designs in Naruto. And not to mention, the whole dialogue thing feels a bit droll. Like a bit too much exposition in some areas. But frankly, it doesn't really feel all that threatening. Not to mention the fact that you got Boruto just kicking Code in the face, who's supposed to be this big bad, but like made an L. It's like no, it should not really be like that for the antagonist. If it was like those clone things, okay, fine. It's like okay, let's to compare this to something. Ichigo Kurosaki from Bleach, right?
Yeah.
Remember when he arrived to save Rukia?
I remember.
And you like had that, let's see, stopping the Sarate, that the Hogyoku, I believe it was, or the the flaming bird Sanpokto execution tool. But then, once that all was going and Renji was taking Rukia away, you had Ichigo stopping 3 lieutenants.
Yeah.
And it was like in just like one blow each, and it's like if it was something more like that, I feel like there would be at least a bit of like, okay, this hype, he's gotten stronger, but it's like the main villain isn't a joke because once those 3 lieutenants got knocked out, Byakuya just rushed, and then it was just like a slash of swords of a stalemate, and just like let's say I can see your moves, Byakuya. I feel like that's like, okay, now Ichigo has a chance of fighting and maybe even beating Byakuya, rather than just Boruto just kicking Code and just like, yeah, this guy's no threat at all. So yeah. So at best, I'd say this chapter could be like a 6 out of 10, but part of me just wants to give it like a 4 or 5. So yeah. I mean the opening is not as bad as it could have been, but the art style still just feels like poorly drawn in certain places, like Boruto's neck. The time skip designs don't do it for me, and frankly, I find some of them a bit questionable. Let's see, but other than that, okay, you've got speeding up but you've got pretty much Code making his moves, so I guess there's that at the very least. So you got something going on. And there's some build up to like Kawaki and Boruto encountering each other again. So yeah. I'll do the second chapter in a bit, but I just need to go somewhere quickly, and I'll be back in a sec, Lucky Cheese. So if you want to talk about something in the meantime, you're free to do so.
Okay. So yeah, no, like referring to my thoughts on chapter 1 again, like overall, like good plus. And like I said, I did think about giving it the great rating, but like the more I thought about it, the more I was like, well, okay. Like Ikimoto's art did improve, definitely, but like it's still like there's still like a sense of missing from Masashi when you see how he did the Minato one shot, which I'm still hoping. Honestly speaking, I'm still hoping that we do eventually get like a limited series on Minato. Because if you see how great that one shot was, could you imagine a limited spin-off series just centered on Minato? Considering that we still don't know about, you know, the one dude, Sasuke's uncle, as I like to dub him. We still don't know much about him. We know about one of his teammates, whose name is Dakai, but aside of that, there's still a mystery. So, like, there's still stuff in Minato, I feel, that you could explore. And it's honestly why I'm hoping that, like, that if not now, like later on, due to the success of the one shot, I do hope that it eventually becomes a fruition because, especially since if you go back to, I'm trying to remember, this was either 2012 or 2013, but I remember Kishi said that one of the things he did want to tackle was a Minato Gaiden backstory. And on one hand, it's like, well, yeah, technically we got that through the one shot, but I don't know. When I hear Kishi talking about that he wants to do more, I honestly do feel like for Minato, we would have gotten more than just a single one shot. And if anything, I think due to that reception, we'll probably get more of it.
Okay, so you were talking about the Minato one shot and all that. So is that what I'm understanding? You were talking about how it did its introduction, and you feel like this would be more promising as a spin-off than Boruto.
Not more promising as a spin-off. I was more so just talking about the art style. Comparison between Ikimoto and and just saying that, like, given how good his art style was in the Minato one shot, and I went into, could you imagine how it would look for a limited spin-off series just centered on him?
Okay. Yeah. I can see that being very popular, but and definitely with like if Kishimoto's drawing it compared to like what Ikimoto's drawing with Boruto.
And I know some people would say, well, doesn't he usually complain a lot about drawing? Well, and yeah, I'm not saying he's not going to, but if it were me, like if I were Kishi and I was given the opportunity, go back into Naruto and to draw, which format would I take it in? Honestly, I would go monthly. That's the approach I would take it in for Minato. Just take the monthly approach. Or at the very least, if we have to go a route I'm probably sure Kishi would be a little skeptical on, even bi-weekly.
Yeah, I can see bi-weekly being the more likely thing, but let's see. I need to review the Minato chapter as well, but I'm probably waiting until like chat is able to do that with me. But for the time being, it's time we get to the second Boruto chapter.
Before we start that, when you do that stream, let me know because I would love to be a part of that.
Of course, but anyway, But anyway, we got chapter 2, Tree, which is pretty much the cover is pretty much what you have as Sarada's avatar, which, frankly, yeah, I'm still feeling like Ikimoto is still not like the legs, and I still don't like the shoulder thing, and I feel like that's just Ikimoto just showing her off, which still feels a bit. Okay, I will say this: it's not as bad when it was Boruto Next Generations because of this, like Sarada's age, and arguably this is more of the standard witty sort of thing you see with typical shonen female characters in Jump. I'm not going to lie about that. I mean, but it's still kind of would rather not see it, especially since Kishimoto, for the most part, avoided that type of designs or fan service. And that was arguably one of the only few things that was good about his female cast. Sorry, what, Lucky Chi? And it looks like Lucky Chi is gone somewhere. Okay, people, while Lucky Chi is...
Yeah, I'll be right back, but you can keep going.
Okay. So the chapter pretty much begins with Cole talking about how he's been looking for Boruto and how he should have probably come to Kahona sooner, but Boruto is just telling him to withdraw. And if he doesn't, let's see, he will be, if he does, he might just let him still live, as he seems to be very confident they can take him on now. But Cole is just like are you serious? Because like how helpless you were against me 2 years ago, saying that Boruto has some nerves about how saying that you're going to spare my life. Boruto says like, yeah, I'm being serious and hurry up and do it. Otherwise, you will lose you have more to lose than me. But Cole just mocks him for like his worst bluffs and all that stuff, and says he could just probably laugh. Sada is trying to talk to Boruto, but Boruto's just telling her that let's see, that there's other enemies to deal with at the time, and they can like asking her to handle them while he takes on Cold, saying that they will talk later and just that she should just stay alive for the time being. And then you see Shikacho fighting the 10-tailed clone things with Shikada, I believe, using the Shadow Paralysis, Chodro using expansion to punch them, and then Jonin using his father's ink birds. Well, granted, the birds look nothing like size, to be honest. And Chojo just commenting about how they're no big deal, they're just numbers. Also, you got Himuraria there as well. But one of the sort of Setsu clones, which 10-tailed Frieza clones, one of them, which seems to have a very large head, tries to bite Chojo. Did you get Inoji just pricking up, flying it away? Telling them not to telling her not to let her guard down by calling her Charles, but she ends up complaining that she ain't fat. And but it destroys the tail, so Inoji is starting to fall, but Himurari has scoffed the bird. And it looks like it's about to be killed by the the 10-tails clone. Kawaki shows up, kills it, while Inoji tries to grab Himari, as he says, to get out of his way. With Himari calling Kawaki big brother. And then the sort of and the Frieza clone thing, or the grime, if you will, ends up opening an eye in his mask bit to reveal a sort of Rinnegan. So these things now have the Rinnegan, which makes me even more questionable about how how these guys are considered minor threats. with Hermione thanking her brother about what to do, but he says just not to call him that, but she wants to. With Shikida saying that this one seems to be different from the others, like it leveled up. And then one comes out of like the one that Kawaki killed, or at least it seems to have disappeared. At least it seems to be the same one they faced earlier, but has just managed to teleport itself. They're pinning Kawaki to, I think, is it Kawaki or is it? Yeah, it's Kawaki to the ground. Shocking the others as it pronounces Kawaki to be an Otsutsuki. But then you got the shower paralysis by Shikida to try and help him out. But and then Code uses like his Karma arm to blast it as he's angry to be called an Otsutsuki. And then you see more of them coming out from another one. Okay, they're starting to get more original designs and the heads at the very least. Though granted, it's still like pretty much Freezer clones. But Shikada is saying how there's just no end to these enemies and all that stuff. But Kawaki's insisting on slaughtering every last one, as Code now has quite a few of them surrounding Boruto. He draws his sword and slices one of them in half. And then starts slicing a bunch of more of them up as Code just looks on. And he at least acknowledges that Boruto wasn't being a complete bluff in this. And then you have Boruto saying that if you insist on this, you will lose every one. With him just thinking, but Code thinks Boruto's still being a bit cocky and thinks they're just tools anyway. But Boruto tells him that he does not understand the true horror of the 10 tails, with which has Code questioning what he means by that. And then you have Sarada kicking one and then using the Firestar Fireball Jutsu on one of them. And then her using a Chidori on another one, killing at least 2 of them. But then you have a bunch of regular Leaf Jonin or Chunin asking if she really is a Genin. But she says it doesn't matter what her rank is. But then one of the supposed dead ones comes back to life and attempts to bite her. But you've got this random Leaf dude who calls her Chiha, says to get behind her, pushes her aside, gets bitten. And one of the Leaf guys or maybe even Sarada shouts out, "Sugi!" as that dude is being bit. And then the clown turns into a tree, absorbing the sort of like Leaf dude called Sogi as he begs for help. With her being shocked, Sarada being shocked that it's a tree, and you start to see more of these Leaf ninjas being bit by these 10-tailed clones, and they're all turning into trees. As she's just confused, like what on earth is happening. With Code saying he knows plenty about the 10 tails, about how they devour Suitskis, as they have their instincts to just bite anything that's in their vicinity until they eventually run out of an Otsutsuki. But Boruto says, well, that might be the normal case. These ones are different due to his enchanting, telling them it's not too late to stop now, or else they'll end up in the worst possible future for everyone. Code doesn't really care, as he plans to devour the 10 tails anyway and become a god, and he doesn't care if the world gets destroyed. With Boruto just warning him once again, saying, "I'll say this one last time. I'll let you live if you leave, but you gotta take me to the main 10 tails bodies." With him saying with Code thinks that Boruto has lost his mind. With Boruto going killing you is easy, so instead of dying in vain, do one good act for the world. And but Code says that's not going to happen, as you're the one that's going to die. And Boruto goes let's see, there's no cure for your stupidity then. It starts to move and you start to get like you see his arm and you get some spirals around it. And Code wondering if this is some sort of Rasengan, as Boruto calls this technique called the Rasengan Ushioki, which appears to be some sort of Vortex thing ending the chapter. And that is what we got for the chapter. Well, okay, I've matched on the entire summary, and Lucky Chi is still not here, people. Sorry, I was just taking a bit of a sip of water there. Well, more of a glug, but anyway. Now we're at the 2-hour mark. I suppose I should give my overall thoughts. Okay, from what I can tell, on one hand, I suppose it is sort of impressive that Boruto is very confident in his abilities, but at the same time, I think it just like, given it just sort of does downplay Code a bit, as he's not being taken seriously as a threat. But I suppose for most people, the rule of cool goes right here. Lucky Chi, have you finally returned?
What have I missed?
You've missed me summarizing the entire chapter.
Cool, I didn't miss a damn thing. I say that because, well, in my opinion, and I went over this in my stream yesterday, compared to Chapter 1, I don't think Chapter 2 had a lot going for it.
Yeah, it was a rather empty chapter. I mean, you might argue there's some cool moments here with Boruto threatening Code, saying that I can take you out quite easily. But, like it said, it doesn't...
And I mean, there's a moment for Sarda, too, where she does a couple things with
the
fireball.
But I'll get that to in a minute. But while it might make Boruto look cool and a badass, if you will, it does just kind of show just how, let's see, none of a threat Code is. And despite the fact that he was originally hyped up to be such a powerful opponent, arguably stronger than Naruto or Itzy or Shiki or Sutsuki when he broke his limiters. But nope, he just keeps getting L's, like you said. Now, apparently, there was...
I did double note that.
Now, apparently, Code does mention that he was helpless against him 2 years ago. So it seems like
we definitely confirmed that Boruto did give him that scar.
Yeah. It's like, so apparently you beat Boruto, but you got a scar as a result of it.
Mm-hmm.
Which doesn't sound like that much of a threat. Now, granted, are we going to get some flashback to reveal this? Probably, but who knows?
I mean, the fact that Sasuke still hasn't been shown is another thing, too.
Yeah. Granted, I remember there was some spoilers for like Boruto Chapter 2 at the time where they said that Sasuke was Boruto's sword, but that ends up not being the case.
A cool little nod to...
The Fuma Shuriken in the Land of Raves, yeah, I can see that maybe, but no. But honestly, Code isn't really much of a threat. I suppose Shikachou working as a team, well, mainly just Shikamaru, Shikada and Shoujo, really, but
yeah, this chapter is also going to show that Inojine's kind of the odd one out.
Yeah, I mean, let's see. Okay, granted, I know that due to the sort of mind transfer thing, that was never. Let's see, the Yamamaki clan is never really a threat by itself, besides maybe basic ninja combat.
No, and here's the funny thing: Inojin does know the mind transfer jutsu. That's a funny thing. He knows about that. So.
Well, he probably should, since he's supposed to be the next clan head of, I believe.
No, like he's demonstrated on like actually showcasing it, so it's not like he hasn't used it.
But yeah. But the fact that he seems to be not, let's see, but it's like he has size abilities, and it doesn't look like he's getting much into the fight. Okay, granted, he eventually ends up saving Chojo later, so I don't know, but no, granted, he ends up calling her chubby, and he's like, "Don't call me fat." So I don't know, you've kind of got that dynamic from like the previous Team 10 going on, but
Yeah.
I mean, less impressive, to be honest. But I suppose I'll give Ikimoto credit for at least keep on using like the one team of side characters that he actually has for Boruto. Well, granted, I'm still, as more chapters go by, I'm just wondering, what was the point of giving Lee a kid? And when he doesn't show up?
I mean, he showed up. He showed up briefly. If we're talking manga-wise, he did show up briefly in a couple spots here and there.
It's very cool. It's only in like the Boruto movie arc that he actually shows up.
Yeah, and when he's like jogging, there was like one other instance. I forget when that is, but I know he shows up jogging.
Yeah, it's like it's least impressive, and frankly, he hasn't been in these 2 chapters. I'm even going to debate in the one if he's even going to appear at all, because he seems to be completely written out, just like his old man. But yeah.
Yeah, no, but okay. The one upset I'll give this chapter is that you do have Boruto showcasing like his badassery, if you will.
Arguably, yes, and I suppose fair credit to him. No, granted,
Kind of showcasing what he's been up to post.
Arguably, he's become very effective with a sword, which you would probably argue is more training than Dry gave Naruto, if I had to guess.
I mean, he has an extension of swords, so he's utilizing it. That's one thing.
Well, fine, but whatever. But I'll definitely say, okay, the one thing I will start to. Well, granted, I still hate these Freezer Crones, though. Granted, I'm questioning why.
No. Like, okay, I'll say this: the designs of the Clograms are still not like I've said this even since they were introduced. Like the designs of the Clograms weren't my favorite, and they still are my favorite.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll at least give them credit of at least Akimoto giving them different head designs.
That's true.
I mean, because it's like it makes them a bit more, I suppose, unique than from the Saran clone fodder army, which is more like I can say about the white Zetsus. Now, granted, they're still overall terrible, and I'm starting to question why does one of them have the Rinnegan?
Good question.
I mean,
it's and also the fact that Boruto was telling Ko like, "Hey, where's the real body?" Which can mean
it can mean a lot of things, but it's like we've never seen a Ten Tails clone do this before, and also this thing should not be killed so easily if it has a Rinnegan, because that eye is supposed to. Because before like the whole Kekemori Rinne Sharingan thing, the Rinnegan was supposed to be regarded as the strongest eye in the Naruto-verse.
Yeah.
So frankly, it shouldn't be defeated too easily. Granted, you could argue Kawaki's karma is different from like ninjutsu, but still.
Yeah.
Now, granted, you see a bit more of Kawaki's darker side here. So like not telling Himurami to call him brother, but she just gets confused by that. But I don't know. But you pretty much got like just nearly every female character in this chapter to be a damsel in distress at some point. Chojo being saved by Inoji, Himurari being saved by I believe
yeah.
Well, no. Well, Inoji and Kawaki.
Yeah.
And Sarada gets saved by some random leaf dude called Sogi, which we never heard of until now.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so which I think let's get to the Sarada thing, which, okay, yes, there's a few action moments, but she becomes a bit helpless that she ends up being saved by a random
You know what
leaf.
it reminds me of? It reminds me of like when Sakura got the Byakugo seal and she was showcasing like how powerful she is, only for the last second for her to get like surprised by the other Ten Tails clone that was supposed to that showed up, and Sasuke and Sakura dashed in to save her. That's what it reminded me of. I was like, it's like, man, what are we really repeating the same thing?
Yeah, but I'll argue this is arguably worse because at least that Ten Tails clone was a giant monster.
I know. I'm just thinking if you still wanted to showcase Sakura being,
Yeah,
really badass, just be like, okay, even if it's big, just
arguably she should have punched the living daylights of it, but it's like this is just a regular size. Let's see.
And plus, if you think about it, that would have given Sasuke and Naruto being like, no, she's got this. She doesn't.
Yeah, arguably yes, but I'd still say it's not as bad as this because you have Sarada just using some basic fire style and Chidori. Okay, fine, but it's like she's just doing it against like one or two just regular size Ten-Tailed set Frieza clone things, and those Ten-Tail ones were a lot more impressive in these terms of size and scale.
Yeah.
As more of them were happening. I mean, granted, you could argue these ones are stronger because of what Boruto was saying with his conversation with Code, but I don't know. But yeah,
it's convenient given what she did just before that.
Yeah. But are you talking about Sarada or Sakura?
Sarada.
Okay, yeah. And granted, those who keep telling me, and those who are saying that Sarada should be on like Sakura, saying that Sarada is on Sakura's level or stronger, yeah, I don't buy it. I just don't buy it.
I mean, if we're comparing,
okay.
If we're comparing Genin Sakura to Genin Sarada, yeah, that argument could be made there, but
yeah, that arguably yes, I could argue that Sarada in a Genin is stronger than Genin Sakura,
but time skip Sarada, like we still haven't seen a lot of yet.
Yeah, but at the moment, I don't even think Sarada matches early part 2 Sakura right now.
At the moment, yeah.
So yeah, frankly, I'm not really impressed, and she seems to still be a bit of a damp. And for those who say that Sakura's are quite the damsel in distress, well, you got Sarada just going like that. But then again, I feel like people just always overhype Sarada, so I'm not surprised. So I've got that. But let's see what else is there to cover. I'm trying to think. Oh yeah, it seems like the clones are all those clones are turning into random trees, which does seem a little at least intriguing at the very least. Though granted, I just feel like the whole
it does seem consistent somewhat with what the Ten Tails was, so it's not like a new thing per se.
Yeah. Okay. It seems to be somewhat consistent, though. Granted, it's still kind of new from the way it's doing it, but I will admit it could have been done. But granted, it could have been just done better than just some random Sogi dying, but a guy called Soge dying. But then again, it's not like they would kill off anyone major in this fight.
Yeah.
But where was I? But yeah. At the moment, yeah, I'm still saying Sakura's looking more impressive early time skip. But granted, I think Sakura versus Sasori tops anything else when it comes to Sarada.
Yeah.
The thing left to say is that seems like Boruto has this new move called Rasengan
Uzuhiko, yeah.
Yeah, which might be a reference.
Honestly, if there's one thing about this chapter I'm curious about, it's that. Because we're saying on Uzuhiko, because based on how it's appearing, it's not just from the palm of his hand, it's like around his body, so...
Yeah, it seems like it's going to be some sort of like body type Rasengan from what you implied there. Mm-hmm. Which... Okay, I guess I could work, though granted, it's still just another Rasengan.
No, it is still another Rasengan, but I don't think we've seen a Rasengan like be showcased like that. So it's like,
I guess though we'll just have to find out what happens. But yeah,
like if this was him saying Ross saying sure, it would have been like, okay, been there, done that.
but yeah, but overall, I'd have to give this chapter like a 4 out of 10. It's like not much happens. I mean, you get some fight scenes. Some of them arguably could be good, but just the way it's drawn, I just feel like it's just not so much.
For me, I feel like it's pacing than anything. I feel like I feel like compared to chapter 1, the pacing felt slow, slower compared to chapter 1. I feel.
Huh, weird, because sometimes I feel like I'd hardly saw anything at all that's happened. It went by a bit quickly. But alright, fine. But granted, of course, you still see
I think it's also because, like, you know, when you're coming from a monthly series, and I mentioned this in my stream yesterday, like,
could you say that a bit louder?
okay, so, like, if we're comparing it to, like, say, like, because since Boruto's a monthly series, you know, you gotta, I view it differently because, like, you know, I've read, like, you know, a few monthly series in the past, so I know, like, you know, when you go from month to month, like, you're expected, like, you know, like, a lot of stuff happening and, like, not moving at, like, an extremely fast pace, but, like, you know, like, just enough to where, like, you get, like, some form of plot progression, if you will. Like,
Well, then it just feels like just regular old Boruto, because it feels like the plot doesn't move at all with this manga.
no, but the thing is that, like, if Boruto, the thing is that, like, this chapter felt like it was a weekly chapter. Like, if this was like a weekly chapter, I would rate it differently. I would say. But because you're coming off from a month, and it's like when you go from chapter 1 to this, it's like, okay. Like, yeah, you had a few things happen, but in terms of, like, plot progression, it's not too much. You know what I mean?
Well, like I said, that sounds like just a regular Boruto chapter where it's a monthly manga that feels like it should be a weekly.
It depends.
I know, that's just generally what I feel like when it comes to the majority of these Boruto chapters. But yeah, but pretty much you just pretty much had the majority of the female cast being damsels in distress, which you could argue,
if Kishi is writing this, then that's consistent.
arguably yes, but I feel like this is even less impressive than what Kishimoto would have released, given moments to the characters beforehand. But
Look,
yeah.
I'm gonna say this. Shout out to Ino because Ino never got treated like that.
Technically, you
As far
could
as
argue the forest of death. You could argue maybe the forest of death.
Yeah.
But that's I'm not really getting to the discussion of Ritzy. You know, you just pretty much have it's just a fight chapter. Normally, fight chapters get me hyped, but I just don't really feel it with this one. But then again, it's like that's just probably because Boruto fight scenes aren't really all that impressive. I mean, you got some intriguing conversation with Boruto and Code about the Ten Tails, and but yeah, that's just generally it.
I would have said this, like when Boruto talks about how he'll do more to Code than just erasing his left eye. It would have been cool if we get like a little like snippet of that, like just that scene. I think that would have been better. It's like, okay, you have that line of dialogue, but you also showcase like just a small scene of like that actually happening.
I don't know. That'd probably be more fitting with Kishimoto because Kishimoto, he does love his flashbacks in his writing.
Which is, yeah, that's more prevalent in part 2 than anything. Because part 1,
you had Lucky Chi. You had flashbacks.
you did have flashbacks. You did have it in part 1.
Don't excuse part 1, Lucky Chi.
I'm not excusing it. I'm saying it's very minimal in comparison.
Hold on, Lucky Chi. Just give me a second so I can get the charger. Okay, you were saying?
No, I was just saying, like, compared to part 2, the flashbacks in part 1 were minimal in comparison. Like, they were still there. I'm just saying, like, it wasn't like.
Sorry, you kind of been a bit quiet again. Could you say it again?
I said it was like it wasn't as excessive in part 1 compared to part 2. That's what I'm saying.
No, I'd still say it was more or less the same. The only time when it got excessive was in the walk when it kept repeating the Obito flashback.
I guess.
But frankly, the flashbacks still felt the same with early part 2 and part 1 pretty much. They still felt the same. The only time when it didn't happen was in the Hiden and Kakuzu arc. Well, particularly the bit with Hiden and Kakuzu because, well, Kishimoto didn't get time to stew their backstories. Instead, you got those in data books. But yeah. But anyway, I think we've pretty much gotten everything covered to say here. Arguably, I said like 4 out of 10 chapter.
For me, I mean, like I said, I gave the first chapter like good plus. This is the one where I said it was like okay plus. So for me, that's like a 5.5.
All right, so you're giving it a higher score than me, but fine. Maybe it is a 5.5, at least a 5. But yeah, arguably, it just doesn't really progress much. And frankly, even though arguably Boruto's supposed to be a bit of a badass here, the art style just doesn't really work for me. It doesn't feel like it's fluid or fast paced as you would see someone like Naruto or Bleachers. But yeah. But anyway, Lucky Chi, I think we've pretty much got an entire chapter, those 2 chapters covered. Longer than I intended, but still. But anyway, thank you for joining me. And I am not.
This was a lot of fun. Like I know it seemed like we were kind of debating with one another, but
yeah,
don't take it as that. It was just I had fun.
Fair enough, but yeah, we still get along, people. But yeah, but arguably, I'm not going to go and discuss. I'm probably unlikely to do chapter 3. And the next time I probably talk Naruto will be something Naruto related. Will be entirely different topic. But yeah.
Well, I think it also depends on what chapter 3 has to offer to you.
Yeah, I don't really want to really talk out. See, I guess maybe if Sakura or Sasuke shows up, maybe, but I'm not really in the mood of reviewing every Boruto chapter, to be honest.
No worries.
You see, but for now, I am Blue Star Saber.
I'm Lucky G7.
And signing off, part 2. Let's see, Shippuden's time skip is better so far. And that final statement, goodbye, everyone.
Rasengan.